I'm at 1603 Monroe Street in Covington, Kentucky, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the potential buyer. We're going through the stack in the basement, in the center rear of the basement, right next to the stationary tub, in between that and the toilet. The stack is mainly PVC above ground, goes to cast iron at the floor, and should change over to clay once it exits the house, or it could even be clay underneath the floor here. We'll find that out in a second. Based on the age of the house, it could go straight to clay once you get under the house. See, here is the garage door. Just trying to make sure the lens is clean here. Still hanging. Once we get down to the bottom, let's turn. There's a belly there right at the base of the stack. See how it's kind of wore a channel here in the cast iron. Now, cast iron is kind of a strange animal. You can't always tell. You know, it kind of builds up stuff like that, creates a channel. Now that lens is only about ½ an inch off the bottom of the pipe, so that isn't a whole lot of water. But you can tell it is worn like a channel, and it basically, as that water falls down the stack and it turns, it kind of wears a channel into it. It does not look like it's gone through the pipe. But you can see how old the pipe is. So there's no real way of telling how much life there is left in that spot. Cast iron can rust in both directions. It seems to be functioning properly there. Hard right turn. Running the washing machine also, so I'm going to go ahead and push all the way out, and then if I make it all the way out to the main, we'll wait for this to finish discharging, and then we'll look at it a little better when we pull back. As you can see with cast iron, there's all these kind of rough spots, and well, basically it rusts. So you have that the oxidation and the rust hanging off of it. It does look kind of rough. We'll be able to see spots like this a little better without all the water flowing through them. Pull back. So far the line looks pretty good structurally. It looks intact. Looks like we are exiting the house. At least we're making a change in material. Looks like we've switched over to clay. So we should be outside the house. Just a little bit of roots there. A little tiny bit of finger roots getting in there. There's some buildup. It's really hard to tell what that is. I thought maybe it was mud. See if I can kind of... Huh. Could be a root ball that's covered in stuff. That is... Unless it's been treated. I don't really see... It would have to be cleaned out and re-inspected to be able to tell exactly if there's a problem with the pipe there. Didn't see any radial cracks or anything in that area, but that doesn't mean there's not something there. There's some more little tiny bit of finger roots that got in here at this joint, but I mean that looks like maybe it's been cleaned recently. So maybe that ball of white was, maybe it's been treated with a chemical and it changed the color. Okay, it looks like there is a tie-in or something on the right, about here. Hopefully we'll be able to get a better look at that on the way back also. Looks like there could be a hole in the top left of the pipe there. Can't really tell if that's just the discoloration of the pipe. What I may end up having to do is put a, note that about 60 feet. What I may end up having to do here is put a standoff on the camera and run back through, try to get a better look at that spot at about 60 feet. SDR. You can see where the connection is. There's black. That black space above it is just where the they use like a firm coat to connect the new to the old. So it means we're probably getting really close to the main. Also been up there at the top where we saw that white spot. Mineral deposits also, but this is pretty strange here at this connection. This is going back into clay. There's a bunch of buildup of stuff right here. Looks like there's a crack in the pipe. Minimum, this would have to be cleaned out and looked at. I mean, material is kind of hard to identify. It could be hardened grease. It could be in white. See the chunk there? Hardened grease. Sometimes also it could be off of the dryer, off the washer when you're using a fabric softener.
A lot of times those are really greasy. It's a pretty big buildup of stuff, and it's in the flow line.
So we'll mark that on the way back. It's
about 80 feet. Strange that we can't haven't hit the main yet, unless I had come into the end of a main based off of this house being on the corner. But Looks like this might be it right here. Yeah, I think we're actually at the main. I'm gonna stop here, try to see if I can get level. Right now I'm sitting at like a 35 degree angle. I'm gonna try to get the camera back a little more flat and go locate this. Try to compare it. There we go. It's about a 5 degree pitch. So I'm gonna go locate this right here, just see how close we are to the main. I'm going to pause the video so we don't have a bunch of dead airspace also. Okay, so we are at the main. That's where it comes down and turns. And I was unable to get it past that lip where it turns and drops into the main. But that was right at the main, the connection, the tap on the main. So we're going to go ahead and pull back. You know, mostly, I mean, it looks like structurally the pipe's good. I have a couple questions, obviously, about the one spot that was kind of hard to get a look at about 60 feet. And then somewhere in the low, like 82 or 83 feet, there's that spot where there's that buildup in the bottom. I'm unable to identify what that is. It could be grease. I mean, it could even be, it looks like there's been some crack repairs done. Like almost like using a leveling compound or something on the concrete. Some of that could have went down a floor drain. Somebody could have rinsed it out of a bucket. Like I said, I don't know exactly what that is. That looks like the mortar on a connection. But look here, this is what I was concerned about, because this is, it may be flat enough, but I think it would still be good to have this stuff cleaned out and get this out of here, because I can't really tell, you know, if that's something that's getting through the connection, because it kind of looks like my camera is kind of wearing a little bit into it. Can't tell if it's a buildup of root or construction material. Not root, but grease. Construction material. Since it's right at a connection where the PVC, the SGR PVC goes into the clay. The other end, so they're back into clay. Right around in here is where we were getting a look at the top of the pipe. Hard to tell. I see black up there, but it doesn't look like the pipes are missing. But there is a crack, a longitudinal crack on the top right hand. It doesn't look like it's affecting anything, but I am going to locate that, and that way it can be noted and referenced on the inspection, so we can, you know, at least bring attention to it. Hard to get a great look at that. There may be a void there. I don't see any dirt or anything coming in, so it's really hard to make
Really hard to get the camera closer, but it does look like a crack and a void there. So again, I'm going to stop right here and pause again, and we're going to locate this spot. Well, somehow I ended up stopping the video and restarting it, so I'm going to have to do an edit on this one. But yeah, so I marked it. It's only about 6 inches under the driveway. So I would be a little concerned about that hole. Like I said, I don't see a whole lot getting in, but that could be, you know, because the concrete's probably sitting right on top of it. So yeah, I think it does look like there's a void. Because that is right below the driveway. I mean, concrete is like kind of sitting right on top of the pipe. It's very shallow. The rest of the line looks good structurally, and that looks like there's a something coming in right there, probably a downspout off to the right. You can see the connection. This here that I would also recommend at 40 feet here. This get cleaned and we can maybe look at it a little bit. It looks like roots. It could be a little bit of roots, but it looks like almost like grease or something wrapped up on those roots. I don't see any void in the pipe. But I can't really be 100% about what's underneath that big blob. Yeah, it's hard telling if that's just a big ball of grease caught on a bunch of roots. I've seen plenty of blockages, and that kind of looks like a mixture between grease and maybe some sort of, it could be some sort of like mineral deposits even, but the way it was clumped together on those roots looked a lot like a big grease ball, but the fact that it was just on its own right there. Usually you see a lot more evidence of grease throughout the pipe than just that ball. It could be some sort of construction debris. We're back in the cast iron. Which means we're back in the house. This looks a little rough. It is old, but it doesn't look. But you know, with cast iron, it's pretty hard to judge on something like this. You know how much life you have left in this. It could last for, you know, another 30 years, or the next time it's cleaned, it could, you know, get a hole poked in it. Because it usually rusts from the inside out. You can't really tell how thick it is. I mean,
seems to be flowing. But there is some low spots where the water has worn away a channel, which is pretty normal with cast iron, but can't, I didn't see any obvious holes in it. But like I said, cast iron is it's pretty strange, because here we are at the base of the stack again, where it comes down and turns and goes out. And now we know there's a low spot just from the water coming down the stack, hitting at 90 at the base and kind of wearing away a channel. That's why it's lower right there. And then you get out of it a couple feet in, as you can see. We are all the way out. So I'm going to recommend this, refer this to a licensed plumber to take a look at this and see if, what they think about that spot, and maybe they could recognize that glob. I would expect that we would at least need to clean it to get those deposits out of there one way or another. They could definitely cause a blockage. Stuff gets caught on it. And then we have the one spot that was about 60 feet, where it looks like it's right underneath the driveway. There does look to be a crack and a void, but I don't see anything coming into it right now. Doesn't mean there hasn't, but like I said, it's like the pipe is right below the concrete. So the driveway concrete's sitting on top of it, and it could protect it. It could, also cause other issues with the driveway, which is already cracked and stuff. So again, I'm going to refer this to a licensed plumber to take a look at the video and see what kind of what they would recommend as far as that spot in the driveway, and at least have a cleaning done to get rid of the deposits that we found along the way. I believe it was about 40 feet and another one at about 80 feet. So we'll have a majority of this in the written inspection. But other than that, structurally most of the line looked good. Just a couple spots of concern, but most of the line did look good. So if there is a repair needed, it would be marked under there's a green dot in the driveway, which is right where the spot was where I saw the void, and it is 6 inches deep to the top of the pipe. So that will end the inspection at 1603 Monroe Street in Covington, Kentucky.